Welcome to the Find Your Flow podcast. Well, hello. Okay, so I was just telling Chrissy, I'm not even going to ask you my question. We know your answer to flow. And I think that the best conversation that we can have is to discuss how things are changing for you, because that's flow. Everything is always changing. And then how does that redefine you? So do you want to share with listeners what is going on with you?
Yeah, so I'm really excited for this. I have been in business 5 years and I've had all of the iterations and all of the different things. But for the past 2.5, there's this running thought that I want to run a business with a capital B. I don't want to be a solopreneur. At no point have I set out and been like, I want to be a one person shop. I want to do it all myself. It's not as fun for me. I like to be with other people. I like to, stay in my lane and not do the stuff that I don't want to do, right? Like I don't want to be in Canva making pretty things. That's not how my brain works. But the how do I actually make that happen has flowed, has fluctuated. And this year it has really settled into my system of, Chris, go build the consulting firm that you want. Stop operating as a solo coach, a solo consultant that I'll tap people, I'll give referrals and partnerships and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
But it's very different to say, no, I am building out a whole consulting firm that is also not just based on the business, right? Like we can talk marketing and revenue and finance and expenses and HR and all of that all day long. Highly important, the bulk of what we're going here. And also, we're humans. We've got to support the business owner as a person, as a human, as a soul. So it's also building up the mental support, the emotional, the energetic, the somatic, the nervous system, the hey, I see you. Like, we don't have to do a thing today. Do you want to just hang out for 15 minutes and have somebody else see you? So that's what we're building.
A holistic consulting firm.
Yes.
I have so many thoughts in my head. One, you reminded me of this documentary that I watched. And it was actually a documentary on pastels, the paint.
Okay.
I know, right? But there's this one manufacturer of these beautiful, super high quality pastels since the 1800s in France. In this tiny little village, it's literally a postage stamp of a building. And it was one man who made these pastels, and he went out into nature and he grabbed all of the different ingredients from nature and then mixed it chemically to create these pastels. He created a system. He created a way of creating them, of developing the colors, of discovering the colors, of matching the colors, like all of these things, right? And the only other person he trained was his wife, who upon his death took it over and was like, okay, so we keep this going. And she keeps going. And then her sister comes in to help her. And these two little 80-year-old women are in this one little teeny tiny shop. Can we even call it that? This tiny little shop in the middle of nowhere village in France. And they're creating these pastels that went from all the rage because all of the painters in the 1800s loved these pastels. They ordered them from him and he made a ton of money. She leaves the business to her sister, who then leaves it to her niece. And then she and a friend, I might be getting this wrong, but two little old women continue to create these pastels that are no longer in vogue. Only one artist in some other city in France orders this certain shade of red, and it's literally the only reason they stay open, because this one artist asks for this color red every year and is like, I can't work without it. Okay. So fast forward to a few years ago, there's this girl who just graduated college and has no idea what she's going to do with her life. So she takes a solo trip through France. And she's on this solo trip and she reads in some brochure about the art of France and artists and all of these things, and how there's this one little teeny tiny pastel shop. So what does she do? She schedules a car. She goes out to this pastel shop and she walks in with the idea that she's going to buy one color. Like, they come in these little rectangles of paint that you then you color. I'm not an artist, but you put it on paper and then you smear it with your hands. She goes in with this intention to buy one color because they're expensive. And she's like, this is my souvenir. Like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to take it home and I'm going to learn how to paint with it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to learn to create something. So she goes in and she sees that they're only open by appointment only. And she's like, well, shit, right? I don't have an appointment. I literally just showed up. So she walks in. There's no one there. There's pastels in all of these beautiful old wooden shelving and cubbies, all of these beautiful pastels. And she hollers out, hello, hello. And eventually this little teeny tiny old woman comes through and says hello. And in this broken French, she starts asking, can she buy some pastels? She just wanted one color. She's not an artist, but she's somehow drawn to all of what's going on there. And the woman says, how about this? How about, can you come back tomorrow and I'll give you a tour? And she said, yes. So she goes back the next day. She gets the tour of this workshop. And the tour wasn't like, look at the history and look at the color. No, this was please wash your hands. We're going to touch all of the colors. I'm going to show you how to make a color. You want to buy one? Let's show you how it's made, and then you can go buy one. Which one do you like? Shows her all of the apothecary, all the little jars of all the little ingredients. There's still lime from the original man who started. There's still colors, these powders that he harvested and created. They're still in existence. And she learns how to make these pastels. And by the time she's done with her tour, right? Her tour that's hours long. She says, I can't leave. Do you have an internship? I literally can't leave. So her vacation turns into an internship, which then turns into a partnership, which turns into co-owner eventually of this little teeny tiny pastel paint shop in the middle of nowhere, France. All of that to say that in the documentary, she says, it's just the two of us. And I choose the colors. I have to go out in nature. I have to see what's available, because it's not just one shade of green. There's a million shades of green. And somehow I have the eye that gets to see that. But she knows how to create it all. And she knows how the chemistry behind it and how to make it come true. So I bring back one leaf of a clover and say, you see this stripe? That's the color. And she says, okay, let's go. Here's how we're going to do it. She says, and then I tweak it to get it to be that exact same color. And she said, and we work like this every day until one of us says, I need a break. And that's when the two of us close the shop and we go out into nature and we bring bread and we bring cheese and we just sit in the sun or in the rain or whatever. And we eat and we talk and we recuperate and we laugh and we cry and we do all of it so that we can come back to the shop to continue to create these pastels, which are now seeing its cycle of coming back and being in vogue, and now they're becoming profitable again. So all of that to say, one, I love what you're building because it's the holistic approach to creating and running a beautiful legacy and not just a business. Like that's one. And two, the ebbs and flows of a business, right? That we go through these cycles of redefining who we are, and then that reflects into our business. That's the whole new paradigm. That's the whole like anti come hell or high water. We stick to this winning strategy because this is what has made us the money, and the money determines how successful we are. And that success defines who we are as human beings. Gone, obliterated. So I absolutely love that you're transitioning through this, and am so, so, so honored that you would come on here and share this journey with us. Oh my God, thank you.
Well, thank
Listeners,
you.
before we hit record, I said, is this too vulnerable a topic?
So many things. One, I like actually wrote down on my Post-it to go look that up because you gave me chills the entire retelling of that. So thank you. I know my weekend activity. And yes, like I think there's so much pressure on, one, it has to make money, big capital money. It has to be this thing that if it doesn't make big money, that it's a failure. Look, guys, I'm 5 years in business and I am not at the financial goal. I'm a business consultant and I am not at the financial spot that I thought I'd be in. That doesn't mean that I've failed for 5 years. It means that life has fucking happened and I have had to take big steps back from my business for long periods of time, multiple times, because life happens. And you have to ebb and flow, right? And other things, right? We all learn, we all make mistakes, all the stuff. But it's the identity piece for me that has honestly been such a mind fuck. Such a mind fuck for the past, I'm not saying the past 5 years, but like at moments, because I left hospitality at the peak of my career. Like I was really young. I was late 20s and I was being tapped to do things that typically you'd be in your 50s to be tapped and asked to run these projects. I had busted my ass. I was at the top of my game. I knew what I was doing in my sleep. To then go into entrepreneurship in 2020, global pandemic, nobody knows what the heck we're doing.
Right.
And being like, yeah, I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to help women. I don't know what that means, but we're going to do it. And there have been moments of such, well, if I'm not quote unquote successful, if I'm not making the money that I was making in my corporate job, if I'm not hitting the same goals that all of these quote unquote guys, all of these other business coaches are doing, then what am I here to do? This idea of holistic business consulting is spot on because that's what it is. We're human beings. But it goes against so much of what we're told business has to look like. That I'm in an off-the-shoulder top and you can see my green bra strap. And this is an aesthetic. This was a choice this morning. That's unprofessional. That you can't talk about woo and witchcraft and magic while also talking about expenses and bottom lines and KPIs and, hey, we've got to cut this because it doesn't make sense. But also you want to go out and do something for charity that doesn't quote unquote make sense, but it feels good. Great. Let's figure out how to do that. And I think that is where we're going. Like you said, there is a new paradigm of we understand that we are human beings and that we are souls. And the louder that we can be about this, the louder we need to be about this.
Amen, sister. You know, I'm a firm believer of that. Huge believer. I mean, it's the whole reason this podcast exists because, and listen, there are times I will readily admit, I feel like I'm screaming into a void. However, I've been screaming the exact same message now for 15 years, right? The better part of 15 years. And what I've noticed is that, like, what started me, the little seedling, it just took some time to get comfortable being me in this world of so not me. You know? And then being like this little teeny tiny screaming seedling of, hey, hey, hey. But, that's like, do you actually hear the ant say, please don't step on me? Right? Of course not, because it's tiny and its voice is teeny, teeny, tiny, almost silent. And then over the past 15 years, getting to know who I am, and then continuing to, I guess, realign with that voice inside of me, that message that I know is really super, super important. When everybody else is screaming about money, for me to be saying, it's really about worth. And everybody saying, but money defines my worth. And me going, it actually doesn't. It can reflect your worth. It can be sort of this like little marker, a symptom of how you're defining your worth, but it doesn't actually represent your worth. And I think that that's really important for other business owners, entrepreneurs, practitioners, experts to understand that we're in a shift. So I get it that you were in the front of this shift. You understood that you needed to treat the body, mind, and soul, like treat the whole human and not just bits and pieces of the human, treat the whole business and not just bits and pieces of the business, because it's no longer like I have a public face and a private face. I have a face, and my authenticity is either going to make me or break me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in that that journey of self-discovery of who the fuck am I, peel away the layers. I think this is who I am, and this is who I am right now, and that's who I want to be. I'm just not there yet. I think that is what the majority of those of us who have sort of quietly worked in the underground for lack of better words, but like seriously hid out for a decade or two, working your craft and finding out what makes you you, honing your skills and all of the things. There's this transition period, which I know that I've spoken about that before, and I'm keep pounding the drum about this. We're in the transition periods. So how can we get through it? Man, I think number one is to recognize that none of us have all the answers, because we're fucking pioneers. And when you're pioneers, you're just sort of one foot in front of the other, figuring out what works.
Mm-hmm.
There's that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think about just this country in the US here, the pioneers who literally went from the east to the west. They had no fucking clue what a rattlesnake was until somebody got bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have no idea what to do about that until somebody stumbles upon a solution. That's where we are right now. So it takes really, really courageous people to be vulnerable, to share their journeys with the rest of us, so that we can all say, did that work for you? Because this worked for me, and maybe it could work for you. And does that feel right for you? And I love that you're probably the first person to come out and say, we're not in a one solution fits all anymore.
And we haven't been for a really long time. I think that if you really look back in history, the amount of time that one thing fits all is so itty bitty Because as soon as we, as humans, as soon as we like come into homeostasis and everything fits all, then something is like, meh, I'm going to go this way.
Yes.
But it takes us a long time societally as big groups of humans to like get on it and move faster. So I think it's been a long time since things have been fitting. But I think also too, because so many more people have entered entrepreneurship, have entered like, I want to do life differently. And I think in part because of the pandemic, because our whole world got turned upside down.
Yep.
There's so much more data that says this isn't working. I do think there's still a lot of noise. I think most of the noise is around, well, it hasn't worked because you haven't done enough. You haven't stuck with it enough. Like, still follow my method.
Somehow your fault. Yeah.
Right? Like, it's always your fault. You haven't been consistent enough. You don't want it bad enough. The discipline. I would like to say a big fuck you to all of that. But very loudly. But it is just this time and place of true community. Are there things that I'm really good at that I'm better at than other people? Absolutely. Are there things that you are better at than other people? Absolutely. So it is about coming together, asking the questions, and asking the questions with true curiosity. Not just being like, ooh, Lisa, what worked for you? Like, I need to do that. But truly
the mimicking is gone. Mimicry is out.
It is, okay, there are similarities between you and I. What has been working for you? What's been difficult for you? Let's have the conversation. Some of it I might take in part, right? Because it might be really good stuff. Mm-hmm. But also it's just opening our minds to the idea and accepting. Opening our minds to and actually accepting the idea that we do not get to have it, quote unquote, easy. Because there is not a path that has already been forged.
Yes.
That for me, honestly, has been one of those things that my whole life I've been like, I'm doing it this way. Like, I'm throwing a temper tantrum. Now I'm doing it this way. Don't tell me what to do. Yeah. And also the reality of like, oh, shit. I have to actually like figure out what that, okay, I guess we're doing this. And just giving yourself that ability to sit there and be like, I really want to do this. And also, this is harder than I thought it would be.
Heck yeah. Well, this whole redefining your business is, I don't want to say that it's not for the faint of heart. Listen, it's hard. It's hard as shit, everybody. Like, there it is. But literally, does it light you up? Mm-hmm. Does the vision of that life you have for yourself, is that something you want so much that you're willing to go deeper? And I think that maybe is like the flip that is happening, is that, oh, I want it really badly, so I'm willing to reach out to you and another coach and another coach and another coach and try this lead magnet and that funnel, and I'm going to pay for this and I'm going to pay for that, and I want to hire someone and do this and have them do it, to then have all of those coaches come back and say, well, you just don't want it enough. And you're like, what the fuck? I really do want it. Look at how much money I've spent wanting it. When really the solution is, do you want it enough to go in, shut out all of that noise, and actually discover who you are, how you want to show up in this world, what you want to share with the world, what you want to create from yourself. That's the hard stuff. That's the work, everybody. Mm-hmm. The work. I'm doing the fucking work, right? But it really is. If you don't know who you are, how do you know what to put out into the world? If you don't know who you are, how do you align with your most perfect clients? Your most perfect clients are no longer responding to buzzwords. They're just not. They're responding to your vibration. They're responding to your frequency. Your vibration and frequency are shared upon your words. So if you say something that you think they want to hear, guess what? You come across as inauthentic. You come across as something about that person just doesn't feel quite right. But you could have literally some perceived lunatics standing on their head in the middle of Times Square screaming something that resonates with your soul. And you're like, that's my guy. I want to go hang out with that one. I actually would pay anything to be able to have that essence come out of me. And I think that's this redefining moment in businesses, that people are moving away from messaging, traditional messaging, and moving into sharing.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's hard. That's hard. You can't hide behind the name of your business anymore. You can't hide behind branding and gimmicks and sales. Nothing. I mean, here, upside, everybody. Upside is that I would say probably 99.9% of us out here in this soul aligned entrepreneurship have at least one time in our life said, ooh, marketing, that just feels dirty.
Yep.
There's something so icky about that. How do we get past the ick? And for a while, coaching was all about how to get past the ick, how to have authentic messaging. And now, I don't know about you, but I really do think that messaging is out the window. Messaging is out the window altogether. You want to know what your brand is? You. So you got all these rando things that you think don't come together, don't make sense. Yeah, they do. You want to know why? It's because you. So, Chrissy, whatever you're creating has to legit come from you. You need somebody who's better at, I don't know, SEO. Great. Go find that person, because now they're connected to you. Literally all starts, if you think of yourself as the center of this web that you're creating of connection, everything changes. But if you have a different face for every part of your business, then none of it is real. None of it. So I'm going to say that you may not be financially where you want to, where you thought you would be, where you projected, because you're like me. We like the numbers. We like the spreadsheets. So that projection may not be there, but you've done so much growth, a fuck ton of growth to get to where you are right now, that whatever that number was, because it was a number, of course you couldn't have reached it. Had you, would you right now be having this moment of redefining?
Not at all. Because I know my conditioning. I'm not going to say I know myself. I know my conditioning. My conditioning is getting weeded out, right? But is still fairly deeply ingrained in there of, oh, there's a new thing, there's a new goal, there's a new number, there's a new thing. Like, how can I push myself? So absolutely not. If I had hit that number, I'd be sitting pretty doing whatever needed to be done to get there, having yet another existential crisis of, this is not who I am. This is not what I want. How did I get here again?
Yeah.
And I want to go back to something you said about the work and the quieting down of everything else. Because there's a lot of work, right? There's a lot of conditioning. There's a lot of ancestral. There's just a lot. We pick up a lot of things. But it's also the turning off the rules, turning off what other people tell you your success or your life or your whatever has to look like, and truly just thinking of it, right? Like in the documentary you were telling us about, that woman did not think that she was going to end up moving to this little tiny village in the middle of nowhere and this being her life. But she is, I'm hoping, incredibly, insanely happy.
Yeah.
Because she didn't listen to this can't possibly be my life. Like I'm one of two people doing this like really obscure thing. This can't possibly be my life.
That's not on anyone's vision board.
Right? But it's allowing yourself to actually just be like, no, we're not going to listen to the rules. We're not going to listen to the shows. We're just going to listen to, what do I want? Not what am I supposed to have? Not what am I supposed to be doing? Not what can I do? What ambition, what potential, what big, beautiful thing can I do? What do I want? And like, it's such a simple question that most people can't actually answer.
Right.
And sitting with it and sitting with it and sitting with it and sitting with it until you're like, okay, I've got 30% of an answer. I know this little part over here. And then letting the rest of it come in. And also realizing that, I'm going to go back to something you said even earlier. Who am I today? Not who am I forever. Who am I today? And what does that version of me want? And where am I going? And like I hate this phrase. I hate it so much. But being comfortable with the uncomfortability of shit is going to change.
Sucks ass.
I hate it so much. It's such a stupid phrase.
I do too. It is, and yet it's so true. Like we can't find other ways of saying it.
But
get used to it.
Right? Knowing that it's going to change again. Like, I'm almost 37. I know my life is going to be drastically different in 10 years. I know it's going to be drastically different again in another 10 years.
Yep.
But if you're building something towards what you want, what is true to your heart and your soul underneath everything else, the underpinning stays the same.
Yeah.
The outside changes, the way it looks, the like tangibles, the names, the price, the offers, the whatever. But it also is just you. It's your magic. However that gets to be expressed. And it's terrifying. And it's exhilarating. And it's also just like, I don't have any polished words to say it. It is the coolest freaking thing you're gonna do in life.
It is.
Like, when you shut down, I'm now nosy. When you shut down your studio and you didn't know what the hell was going on, did you have that moment of just like, oh shit, this is cool. Like, we're doing this.
So yes, I have this recurring theme in my life where it even started with opening my studio. So I had my studio, then I was injured and I closed my studio. And then it was, we're going to start seeing people out of the house. Okay. Like what? I don't know what that is, but yes. And then it was, holy shit. So this is really causing my family to hide out all the time. Why don't we move this outside of the house? Which was an, oh shit. What does that look like? Right. So, well, what the fuck? What does that look like? And what's the rent versus the income? What are the bills and who cleans the place? I guess I clean the place and all of those things. Right. Now I need a logo and a sign and no, I didn't. Let's be very clear. Let's be very honest. Super successful studio that was like this speakeasy of studios because I had no sign. I had no ads, no nothing. It literally was the speakeasy of the gyrotonic world. Nobody could understand like how it was that I made a living doing this. But it was so authentically me because that's who I was at that moment of, well, I'm a little trepidatious. I'm a little scared. You know, the last time I had some success, it literally was all wiped away in a breakfast. You know, my entire life wiped away in a matter of minutes. So there was always that aspect of let's keep small, let's stay small, let's be quiet so we don't cause too many waves in our life. But then one day you wake up and you're like, this is pretty successful. And then with COVID, like for you, with COVID came a redefining moment. I was thrilled to pieces that I had to close for about a month. And here, nobody knew when they could reopen. It was all, chaos. Do you remember that? It was all complete chaos. Can you do anything in person? Gyms had to stay closed. Well, it wasn't quite a gym. Massage therapists had to close. I wasn't quite massage therapy either. So because I was small, because I was quiet, because I was under the radar, I could reopen. And as long as I kept that 6 foot like taped out, if somebody happened to walk through the studio, they would see lines where things were taped out at 6 feet. As long as that, then I was well within the code. I even reached out to our county twice to see if I could have permission to open. And they were like, we literally have no idea what you do.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. And I was like, okay. So there's that where I was like, oh my God, how cool is it that because I'm a speakeasy, I get to reopen? That's kind of cool. But then at the height of success, literally the height of success, to wake up one day and be told, Lisa, it's time to close the studio. What? So there was that what the fuck redefining moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I going to be? Am I going to continue this timeline trajectory of successful studio owner and what I forgot to tell you, right before we had to close for COVID, I was in negotiations to expand, a major expansion.
Oh my gosh.
A
okay.
major expansion. I was going from, I don't know, my studios to like 5 times the studio space.
That's huge.
Huge. And I had already met with the contractors. We were going to renovate. We already had it all mapped out. This was different rooms for different services. I was transitioning into opening a spa, a restorative spa space. And something kept telling me, don't sign the lease. Don't sign it. Don't sign it. Take all the meetings, but don't sign the lease. That day, I remember this day, I walked in my back door and my husband met me at the back door, which is really odd. I mean, he's super kind and loving, but he also never greets me at the door. And I walked in and he was there and I was like, oh, and I wasn't paying attention. So I opened the door and I'm turned around and I say, okay, I'm ready to sign the lease. And I close the door and he's standing there. So I turn around and I was like, what's the matter? What is the matter? And he says, I need you to sit down. And I was like, okay. So I sit down and he says, did you just say you were ready to sign the lease? And I said, yeah. And he said, the landlord literally just leased it to someone else. He was using you as a stalking horse. He got somebody else to come in and pay double. And I sat there and I went, okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I could say was thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's a reason for this. Thank you. Now, because I was preparing for all of that, I had also already had the loan to be able to do everything that I had envisioned. 3 weeks later, COVID shut us all down. So we were not financially strapped for the amount of time that we were closed. I had the most wonderful clients who bought things and never expected to receive them, right? They bought gift cards, never used them. They bought all sorts of services and never used them. I didn't lose anything. When I reopened, 100% of my clients came back.
That's
I did not
incredible.
lose, not a single one. And I'll tell you, it's because of authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
No one else did or does what I did or do today and then. Like, it just didn't exist. So they didn't care what I charged. They didn't care that I had to close. They didn't care. Nothing mattered. They all just came back. So imagine now that level of success and needing to close, and even having a client say, can I pay for your rent, pay for my time with you, and anything else that you need? Can I just give you that every month so that I can continue to come here once a week? And I said no. I said no. So all of these opportunities to remain on that trajectory, which would have been super successful, the numbers were there to show me that I was successful. Now, anybody who's just listening to this, it's a wink and a nudge and a total air quote show me, right? The numbers were there. I should have said, yeah, like, this makes total sense. I'm a success. I'm a huge ass success. Great. But I didn't, right? I didn't. I closed and I went, okay, I don't know what the fuck, but this is really awesome. I did say that. Mm-hmm. All of that to say, to answer your question, I did. I was like, this is scary as fuck. And I'm so curious. Mm-hmm. I'm so curious to see what is next. So I say the same thing even with this podcast. Like, I have no idea. I have no clue, no plan, no, there are no expectations. And yet every night I go to bed going, oh, what does tomorrow bring? And every day I wake up going, what does today bring? It's like so exciting because everything is unknown. There is literally no benchmark for success other than how I feel. Mm-hmm. I know I'm successful. And listen, I can look at whatever. I can look at all the analytics, right? The numbers of listeners, the numbers of downloads, whatever. I don't fucking care about any of it, because what I know is that this is bringing me a lot of joy and affirming who I am and why I'm here. And that's my definition of success. So because I know that, I also know that money is coming. Great conversation, because literally I think everybody is where we are right now. Maybe I'm like a month longer into this process. Maybe. But it's so awesome. So what are you thinking? Like, where are you right now? Are you in that combination of this is fucking awesome and God damn, what the fuck? Like, this is just, I'm swirling in a question mark, which is annoying.
Yes. Question mark. So it is very much I know the thing that I am building, and I am acutely aware of the fact that I have not a single effing clue how that is going to look in reality. Because there's so many ideas, right? Part of me is like, I love running teams. I love leadership. I love management. I love empowering people. I love being helpful in their growth. It's one of the things that I miss about corporate. And I know this is like heresy to say, I kind of want an in-person location. But I also know that that is unrealistic because I want to serve as many people as possible and not have them come into a location. So I know that that is not how it's going to look. It's going to look like, quarterly retreats and annual,
right?
The whole team gets together and da-da-da. So I know the thing that I'm building. And also at the same time, holding on to the idea that I have no clue what that actually looks like. Okay, great. I'm going to have business support of all kinds. I'm going to have holistic human soul support of all kinds. Is it a la carte? Is it packages? Is it retainers? Is it done for you? Done with, like, the reality of it, the very specifics, like, this is the thing that I am selling to you. I have an idea of what some of that looks like. I'm having lots of conversations about who that is with, because it's not all with me. And there is this element of, what was I doing? I was doing something I was like putting on mascara or brushing my hair, doing something just like completely innocuous the other day. Yeah.
Yes.
And I realized as I was looking at myself in the mirror, I was like, oh shit, I'm a founder. I have never identified like, yes, that is the response. I have never identified it. I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a leader. I'm never. But it was one of those things that was just like, oh shit. And like, it hit me in the moment of, I'm building this business. I'm building this thing. I have talked for years and years about building an empire. And now I'm like, oh, we're doing this. Hot shit. Yes, please. Please. Thank you. I'm here for all the things. And also this little thread in the back of my mind that's like, what? What is this thing that we just raised our hand and said, hi, hello, I'm a founder of a consulting firm that goes against every sort of norm about consulting?
Yeah.
So yes. And I think for this period of when this is recording, it may be changed by the time this airs, I am mostly sitting in the area of how fucking cool is it that I get to do the thing in the way that really truly feels beyond nourishing to my soul, that also has all of the big world impact that I want it to have, that also feels really peaceful. Like, yeah, I'm busting my butt and I'm doing the things, and there is a lot of aligned action, right? Still not hustle, but a lot of like, all right, man, we are
absolutely
hauling ass today, with this deeply ingrained sense of peace. And that has been the missing piece. I'm not saying I've hated my business. I have loved the things. I've loved the growth and the evolution of the past 30 some odd years, the past 5 years. And also the kernel is there, right? The kernel that sits right behind your breastplate that goes, oh, this is it. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Heck yeah. Oh my God. Listen, all great change begins with an idea, with a thought. And taking it from the thought into creation and existence is just one inspired action after the other.
And a lot of stubbornness.
So I love, listen, oh my God, but truly that's what it takes. Truly that's what it takes. There's this determined stubbornness that needs to happen, where once you identify that you even have that kernel, and then what it is, and it's literally you, your essence. If you're not going to hang on and stand up for that, no one will. No one. And no one can create exactly what you're creating. So if you're not dedicated to it, if you don't have a commitment and show up in every action all the time, it's just not happening. It ain't happening. It just isn't. It just isn't. It's legit. Like if this is inside you and this is what you want, then you have to be able to have the courage to take inspired action all the time and the determination to continue taking inspired action regardless of what everybody else says around you, all that noise. Regardless of all of that, including that little temper tantrum naysayer that's in your head who starts to question everything. That's what I mean by saying you've got to just continuously go deeper, go back to that source of this. I have to show up in this way. I have to create this business. I have to see the creation of a consulting business that helps the entire person, not just a segment of the person. Okay. So if you continuously go back to that part of you that says, I have to do this, that conviction, that's your why. Literally, that's your why. Everybody should be saying, what's your why? Because I can't not, you know, like that should be your why, because it's literally impossible for me to not do this. That's why. Because it would be the dumbest thing on the planet for me to not show up the way that I'm supposed to show up, because it's a shit ton harder for me to not be who I am supposed to be. Right. I had a guest ask me just recently. She said, you know, how do you have the courage to do what you do, to continuously show up? And I said, because it's a lot easier than taking a frying pan to my face every single blessed day. Because that's what it's like. The flip side of me not following through with who I am is literally being smashed in the face with a frying pan every single day. And I'm not talking just like your aluminum. I'm talking cast iron. Hit me in my head. Like, I don't want that anymore.
The ones from the cartoons where you just like go flat.
Yes. That's exactly it. I'm not going to continue to run that. I'm just not going to do it. I want something different. So I love that you want to create this consulting business that speaks to the all of someone, because that's literally anyone. That's anyone. Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? Now let's talk about what you create. Like, it's legit. So when I think about your business, if I can shove my nose into it.
Please. Yes, please.
But truly, when I think about this, when you first told me that you were even like dreaming this, I was like, yeah, heck yeah. It's not a la carte because there is no Allah.
Yes.
There's literally just the cart, right? So I don't think that there should be offerings just for your business hat and just for your marketing hat, or just for your business development, or just for the finances, and just for this, just for that. I think it's literally, who are you? Like, what business consultant do you know comes in and says, okay, so we're going to scrap everything, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to start with, who are you? Who are you? Now, and big fucking question, and it's your homework, everybody sitting here, and you're going to take however long you need to take with this. Does your current business reflect who you are? Because I think people get caught up in the nuances and they forget that these two vital questions: who are you, and does your business reflect who you are?
I love you. Thank you. I think that like settled something in my brain. I I've worked with a ton of coaches over the last couple of years, like figuring things out. You know, you work with other business coaches, you work with messaging, you work with all that. And every time I've been asked about what the freak my framework is,
I know.
it kills me. And I figured it out, right? I put it into words that other people can understand. And the first thing is always, what's your vision? What's your vision? Who are you? How do you shine? They're not fancy questions. They're not quote unquote professional speak questions. I don't ask, how do you naturally communicate? How do you shine? Because there's a difference. And I've had so many people come back to me and be like, that's not where you start. You start with identifying the problems. I'm great at identifying problems. I love running audits. It's one of, honest to goodness, makes me so freaking happy to run an audit on something and like pick it apart and see how we can make it better. But if you're starting off a relationship of saying, here are the things you're doing wrong, whether you frame it as we can make it better or not, like, here are the things that are wrong, that assumes that you know better than that person, and that assumes that you know that person. So no, it has to be the conversation of, what's your big vision? How do you want your life to look like? What do you want to feel? It's all these like feeling questions, right? That just go against the grain in business of like, it doesn't matter how you feel. Well, I don't want to be having panic attacks because I'm miserable every other day. So I want my business that doesn't give me panic attacks. Been there, done that. It's miserable. It's getting to know them. So thank you. Please feel free to stick your nose in my business any and all times. Because I think you're right in, can I do a cart? Yes. Would it make more money? Probably. Is it really the thing that sets me apart? No. Is it the way that I want to work with people? No. Because I'm nosy. I am not curious. I am nosy. I want to be all up in your business and your life. I don't want to know necessarily about your kids or your relationships, but like, I want to know all of the things. So to be like, oh, I'm your business consultant coming in and helping you with revenue development.
Right.
I mean, yes, but also that is the frying pan to my face of like, can I ask about your dogs? Can I ask when you're adopting a next one? Can I ask when your wedding is? Like, can I see a picture of the dress? Can I da-da-da-da-da-da? Or is like, no, you show up with your whole self. I get to show up with my whole self, and we get to make some really, really good magic happen. So thank you. You just solved a big brain question.
And by the time this airs, listeners, you will have had the opportunity to watch and listen to Chrissy offering business coaching to Sandra Lee. Sandra Lee is a holistic entrepreneur who has been struggling with, I think, branding and marketing and communicating so that her business is profitable. And under that umbrella of creating a profitable business, because this is the thing. This is like one of my biggest like bones I can't let go of right now, is I truly believe that really good holistic experts should be making a shit ton of money, because that's the language that they understand right now. Okay, so I'm only successful if I'm making money. So let's make you a lot of money. Will you then like let go of all of this? Like, I'm not worth diddly squat until I make a lot of money. Like, okay, so let's get you there. Let's make you some money. But how about to get you to there, you figure out who you are? So, listeners, there's this beautiful um, opportunity to listen to Chrissy working what she may not realize is her new program with Sandra, because we literally took her, and I had the privilege of being there to witness all of this and offer my 2 cents when I was allowed to. But to bring her to a point of going, oh, I had no idea. Like literally Sandra's mind was blown. Her mind was blown. And it took me several days of saying, Sandra, have you reconsidered your bio yet? Because your bio needs to get rewritten. Your title needs to be rewritten. You have to lean into who you are in order to be able to communicate who you are. If you don't know who you are, you can't find the words, you can't explain, you can't communicate. No one wants to work with somebody who doesn't know who they are. Those days are over. Over. So, this conversation, I think, is so important because Sandra is just one of thousands on this planet who are in the exact same place of, I don't know what's next. Shit, I was just having a conversation with another friend of mine just this morning who said, I know it's time to level up. Fuck a duck. I know it's time to level up and I have no idea how I'm doing it. I don't know what it looks like or what because I don't know who I am as this version of me. We're all out here. We're all doing the exact same thing. We're all redefining who we are, which is, of course, going to redefine our business. Of course. So I love that you are pioneering this. I love that by the time this airs, you will probably have figured out what this is going to be. I have a feeling that this conversation in and of itself did a whole lot to move you in that direction. And then there's one thing that I will leave you with, because believe it or not, we're over an hour, if you can believe that. I know, I don't understand how it happens either, but I'm going to leave you. I do too. It's so, I think it's so much fun. It's selfishly so much fun for us to get together. But like brainstorming together like this generates this energy for the listener to be able to go, wait a second, I'm approaching things maybe from the wrong direction. Let's rewrite this ship. So here's my last little, and I'll try to keep it brief, but my last little tidbit. I met with another guest, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And she said, when you're ready to level up, when you know that you're pushing to that next level, the very first thing that needs to happen every single time is to redefine what safe means to you. Right? So when that episode comes out, her name is Donna Campbell. And when that episode comes out, everyone needs to have a listen to this because, I mean, first things first, it's super entertaining because you watch me go through this mind-blowing transformation. She, like, before the episode even began, I was like, Donna, something's going on with my nose, which tells me there's a DNA upgrade that's happening. And she goes, ooh, let's get to work. She's like, I love a DNA upgrade. But and that was the magic. She said, how do you define safe? What does safety mean to you? And wherever you are in your life right now, define it. Turns out, and it's nothing. See, there goes my head. My head is itching, which tells me that there's like psychic things that are going on. But I had no idea. Like, I never sat down to consider what the safety means. Like, I don't know. And then when I really sat with it, I was like, it means that I'm alive. It means I'm not harmed, right? That I can wake up to see another day. Well, that's a really low benchmark. And that's everybody's benchmark until you redefine safety. And here's a little tidbit, everybody. When you define safety as I'm alive, I'm unharmed, you typically live paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it shows up. Because your expectation is, I have just enough to stay alive. So you legit have to, there goes my nose again, you legit have to redefine safety and then do the work, right? To heal the trauma that keeps you in the loop of safety just means that I'm alive, so that you can then have the space to grow and level up into now what is your definition of safety. So there's homework for you, my friend.
You gave me, my little pink Post-it is chock full of notes already. I did put,
I love that. Yeah, redefine safety. So up until this point, you have been living with a certain definition of safety, and you're looking to expand past that. So that is that very first, that's the root of all things, right? Safety, it's your root chakra. It's from which your money expands, from which your light expands, from which your giving expands, from which your communication expands, from which more ideas are generated, from which you get to radio out to the rest of the world to bring it back to you. So it's literally the very first thing. So now you get to sit with that one. And then we can meet again and you can tell us how you've redefined what safety means to you. And then how is that correlated with your new business and how much your business has completely exploded out into the world. I love that.
Yes to all the things, please and thank you. This is, I didn't come into this having any expectation of what we were going to talk about because it's Find Your Flow. And I ended up getting a coaching session, an energetic clearing session off of this. So thanks,
cheers.
Lisa.
Cheers to that. I know, listeners, this is what it was like when I worked with clients. So this is fun. I like it. Every once in a while, never say never, right? Never say never. I'll never work with it. No. This is fabulous. I get so much from you, Chrissy. I love that I get to grow right alongside you. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your expertise. But more than anything, thank you for sharing your truth, your vulnerability with me today.
Thank you for putting this space together, because it is, as the pioneers doing this, it gets hard sometimes, right? To constantly be the one that is forging ahead, cutting down the paths, doing the things. So thank you for creating the space and having me on.
Oh, well, till next time. Before you go, Find Your Flow is now on YouTube. Subscribe to Find Your Flow with Lisa Roche and set your notifications to catch every episode as they are released. Joining this beautiful Find Your Flow community allows your energy to be included in every healing meditation. So subscribe and follow. And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with anyone else you think would enjoy it as well.